Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Paige, and I am at Deschutes Public Library. This presentation is part of Deschutes Public Library's virtual content. Tonight, we have a very special event, the Source Weekly Annual Poetry Contest. We have with us the winners of the contest, both youth and adults. Not every poet was able to join us for this reading, so please check out all the winning poems at bensource.com. The annual poetry contest is a collaboration between the Source Weekly, Deschutes Public Library, and the OSU-Cascades Low Residency MFA program. Thank you to all of our judges from each organization. I will turn the mic over to Nicole Volken, editor of the Source Weekly. She will say a few words about the contest, and we will then invite up each of our poets. All right, Nicole, take it away.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for joining us in this digital format. I'd like to just point out that, I think it is perfectly fitting that poets, some of the most creative people around, are able to shift to this platform rather than doing this reading in person like we like to do normally. We are now doing it remotely. And the beautiful thing about that is that we are able to bring in folks from all over the world, even though some of the best talent in our contest came from right here. So I just wanted to explain a little bit about the contest for those who haven't been familiar with how we do it. Every year around the end of the year, we put out a call to our readership at the Source Weekly, letting them know that, that this contest is happening. And every year, hundreds of poems come our way. And that is just such an exciting thing to see happen, just to kind of sort through that. I will admit, sometimes I read them as they come in, depending on the volume. And it's just so much fun to just see the youth and the adults and the creative energy that comes into my inbox. So from my inbox, the poems go to a panel of judges. There are two panels of judges at OSU-Cascades. First, the students from the Low Residency MFA program read through the poems and they make a list of finalists from that. These are students who are studying creative writing, MFA in creative writing, so high-level people who really care about writing. So they've really whittled it down to some that are just the best. And then from there, we have our panel, as Paige mentioned, of judges who do the final round. And two of those judges this year hailed from OSU Cascades. We had Jenna Goldsmith, and we also had Jennifer Reimer-Racio. So thanks to both of you. And then also Paige Bentley Flannery from the Deschutes Public Library. So thanks so much to our judges, and of course to our wonderful poets who, without further ado, I want to let you listen to. I just want to end with one of my favorite quotes about poetry from Alice Walker, and it was featured in one of our recent poetry contest write-ups in the Source several years back, from Alice Walker, who says, "Poetry is the lifeblood of rebellion, revolution, and the raising of consciousness." And I just think that's so perfect and encompasses so many things that I love about poetry. Thanks to all you poets, and I can't wait to hear you read.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Nicole. We had this year two amazing young poets who put together some brilliant works, and we have invited them tonight to share their poetry with us. First up, we have Petra Jones. Petra.
Hi, as she just introduced me, my name is Piedra, and I was partly inspired by this poem from moving from Alaska to Sisters over the summer. So that part inspired the poem, and I was also partly inspired by COVID, like all of the kind of like disasters, and then you can find hope through that sometimes. Yeah, but my poem is called, it's an acrostic poem, and the word for the acrostic poem is reckoning, since that was a theme this year. My poem is called "The Year Everything Went Wrong, Mostly." Ruined. The year I thought would be great because I turned 12 was ruined. Everything's weird. The world has turned upside down. Claiming that there is no virus is not helping the situation. Knowing this will take time is the hardest part. Waiting. Open-hearted, that's the way to live these days. Never again will I do this. I find it hard to believe I am in history, a story that will be passed down forever. New friends are hard to make, but this year friendships are harder to break. Grateful for science and love in these hard times. So yeah, that's my poem.
Thank you so much, Piedra. That was wonderful. Mason, you are up next.
Thank you. I also ended up doing mine as reckoning for acrostic poem. My title is actually Reckoning, and here it is. Are we still connected through this? Events we cannot control. It's crushing kindness when we're overworked through the roughest of times, not feeling safe right down inside our hearts. Intelligence is needed now and now more than ever. But what we need the most is gratitude.
Thank you so much, Mason. That was wonderful. We're getting claps and snaps all around. Next, we will move to our adult category. We have Melly, Broderick, Eaton, who will share her poems, including one we hope that wasn't published today. We have Melly coming up. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. And can I just mention that I am so pleased that there was a youth category added to this. As we saw last week with the inauguration, young people have a lot to say and they have a lot of grace and beauty and wisdom to offer us. So congratulations, you two. I'm so glad you're here. I'm Melly Broderick Eaton. I grew up in Bend. I've lived here just about my entire life, but for a few years in Virginia for college. I'm just about to finish up my master's in writing at Lindenwood University. I have one class and one thesis left to go, and then we'll be finished. I am mostly inspired by nature, and Bend sure has a lot of that. So I go out and wander around in the woods, and lines trickle in from wherever those beautiful things come from. And eventually they kind of form themselves into a poem that I then take it as my job to put together. The first one I'd like to share with you tonight is called Clams. A small pile of kelp-wrapped bones, too ossified for fish, too slender for seal or whale. Just the scaffolding of some bird resting near a disembodied claw from a right-handed crab, the slick white remnants picked clean. Dad chooses one with a sharp point, uses it to pry a clam the size of his palm, a young gooey duck that tried to flee on its single obscenely thick foot. But his shovel so fast, so experienced, the clam never had a chance. The bone, now our fork, we eat pieces of valve and siphon, muscle and gut still pulsing, the slippery flesh torn from its pearled housing, rinsed in the ocean as waves pull the sand from beneath our sinking feet. The second one is crow, murder, crow. Noun, crow. Clever feather glints so black it's no longer black, but shines green instead like want. And maybe that's why he covets what shines, what reeks, what feels lost to another once it is gone. Noun, verb, murder. They show up, black tie, noisy, dressed to kill, but did that one crow on the branch above me actually kill the little black cat whose head it dropped to crack on the ground at my feet, not 3 minutes after a man asked me to keep an eye out for his lost black cat? Or did the crow overhear and bring the coyote damp head as an answer to this man's loss, so that the hole in his family could fill with a flood that would gradually subside instead of staying empty from not knowing? When I run across the new topography after yesterday's storm, where new rivers careened down from the ridge, making deep ravines that branch smaller and smaller until they are like a drained vascular system laid on the earth's surface. I think it looks like the dried out rivulets of the American West that thirst for another storm, and I wonder if this is what the world looks like to a crow in search of shiny treasures. Verb, crow. Shouts and laughter I misinterpreted for too long. Maybe sometimes they tell stories to remember the way through the changed landscape, all those new ravines. Maybe when someone says earth-shattering, they don't really mean the damage to the land itself, but to the things they love that drag their small lives across it. And last tonight is the poem that was part of this contest. Even as nighthawks call out the coordinates of the precise spot, shadow will rush from the earth to meet the falling night. Pines sip the sun's last, needling blue into color that sows itself deep into starlit black, leaving behind the divine an indigo memory of a day spent wide in sage kissing the air just before quick rain that pocked the dust as a reminder that answers fall from above. Now forgotten light, hidden as we traverse the dark and slow. In this moment, I know I've never put together a proper prayer. When night comes, follow the strong stars, feel the darkness rise, speak lightly of heaven, and let the coyotes sing us home. Thank you.
Thank you, Melly. That was absolutely beautiful. We have up next Carol Barrett. Carol, thank you for being here tonight.
Yes, thank you all. I want to reiterate the gratitude that's already been expressed to the source and to the library and to the OSU-Cascades MFA program for sponsoring this event. And I especially want to appreciate the selection of the theme, reckoning, because if you believe, like I do, that poetry can be healing, this exercise in writing a poem for the contest was a healing act for me, and I hope it was for other writers who entered the contest as well. And like Paige, I want to specifically congratulate our younger poets, Piedra and Mason, for their fine work. You are off to a terrific start. I did not start writing poetry seriously until I was 30 years old. So if you are out in the audience and have not yet begun writing poetry, I will say it's never too late, but wonderful when you get an early start like these two have. And thank you also to the judges and the participants who are out there, because poets need an audience, and without you, we couldn't thrive. So I'll begin with the poem that I titled The Reckoning, that was inspired by the theme of the contest. The Reckoning. 1. My cousin dies of COVID. Grief's wildfire consumes her husband, who tells their son, I have nothing more to teach you. Then swallows pills to smother flame. No more air, fire out. Score 2 for COVID. 2. 4 of my students contract the virus. Home from the hospital, one opens the door to a friend with chicken soup, but he's vegetarian. He invites the friend to stay on the porch and listen to a poem he has written. My student asks, will this count as my poetry reading? I say, yes. 3. Long lines at Goodwill, cars and trucks laden with bins and boxes to drop off. No one can go anywhere. We sort our cluttered houses in the empty hours. I prune dead limbs in my yard. Weeks this goes on. After branches come needles, cones. Another year, I would look past the fallen. They hound me like a sore tooth, teeth. 4. Holiday tradition would have me choose a tag on a tree with a child's wants. Perhaps a fire truck, a ladder up and down. No tree with boy 10, girl 6. I bring a large, crinkly bag to a homeless man camped on the sidewalk, cashews drenched in dark chocolate. I can't eat those. I don't have any teeth. 5. When snow comes, deer mingle in the backyard, watchful, waiting. Even in this quiet breath, sudden beauty, fogging all our expectations. And thank you. The next poem I'll read is a poem based on a site in Bend that many of you have been to. It's called Driving Through Rock Arbor Villa on the 4th of July. The trailer park rents to those 55 and over, never raises charges until death exacts its toll. Known for aging pines, rippling pond, abundant deer, brisk walk to Costco. A friend lives there, enjoys the small swimming pool, open memorial through Labor Day, except closed due to COVID. No grandkids belly flopping this year. I'm invited for the fireworks on Pilot Butte. Splendid display, doubling in the pond, shimmering mirror. Best seat in town. I drive over plenty early, work my way through single and double wides, flamingo statues and bird baths, long ramps and sun umbrellas, each plot maxed out with black-eyed Susans, sprinklers running. What I didn't figure, dozens of residents already camped out in wheelchairs, lap blankets, tables with lemonade, holiday cookies from Safeway, all staunchly planted on the road as if they own the place. I guess they do. A woman shouts at me to cut my lights. Another rises, hands on hips. A third jots down my license plate. A man in earmuffs shakes his head, while a volatile spray of children dash about with sparklers, barely missing the car. Celebratory sparks shower the coolness of dark once we finally settle in folding chairs, sleeping bag between us, bottled water. When at last the fiery finale sizzles in the heavens, echoes below, I wait to be sure the last starred and striped cookie has anointed sleep before slipping through the remnants of the holiday. Potato chips the squirrels will argue over, grass matted more than usual, triumphant ducks reclaiming the pond. They know to wait their turn. Thank you. And Paige had told me that there would be time for me to read one more. So I'd like to read a poem in honor of my parents. This poem is called The Bird, for my mother and father. They thumb through birds of the Northwest, trying to name a newcomer. I too catch his act this morning at the suet feeder, swinging between the camellias. Yellow beak, my father is sure of it, nibbling cautiously while tail feathers bobble. Ever since courting, they have tracked the migrations of aerial friends. They talk eyes and wings. They are sure this tail has streaks of white. See, there? Too small for a wren or sparrow, he defies ID. This worn, slim volume has witnessed their rarest sightings, decade after decade, whenever need darts about. The cover is ruffled, pages smudged, vestiges of butterhorns, perhaps our version of suet. They settle finally on common thatch as the light breast and black head fit the scriptural habitat west of the Cascades. I expected a more exotic tribute, given their whispered wonderment, heads tilted together. The bird, now named and known, pecks his way into their glad world, flits to a rafter to watch the watchers. They are between surgeries, my mother for crushed vertebra due to a fall on the slate beneath the feeders, my father for cataracts splitting his pine trees in two. I have come to cook for a while, fold the clothes, closer now to this ritual of discernment, window, bird, and book. They know more birds than I could list in a year of Sundays, recognize the whirring duet, repeat visitors, two hummingbirds who linger into dusk, even when names of friends escape recall, their gray heads bent to pain as they wait once again for the wings of grace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carol. That was fantastic. Thank you so much to all of our readers. We unfortunately were unable to have our first place winner join us tonight, but we hope that you will still go to bendsource.com to check out all of the winning poems in all their glory. We would like to say again, thank you so much to the Source Weekly and to OSU-Cascades for the help and for the collaboration. We really could not do this event without so many parts of our community coming together. So thank you for joining us tonight. This program is being recorded, so please go to deschuteslibrary.org to check out all of our other great programs and check us out at our YouTube page. This recording will be available on our YouTube page in prosperity, so we can remember this great event. It has been a wonderful, crazy year. It has been a wonderful, great event, so we hope that you'll join us next time, and we hope to see you very soon. Have a great evening, everyone.